Hello everyone. With the inception of the Grand Highlander, the need for us to look at how the 2023 Toyota Highlander stacks up against this new 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander is very integral. So today this episode is actually dedicated to going through that, if there are any differences and what the differences are, and to learn to look at the key differences and similarities, and I'm sure that will help you to make a decisive decision. So in this episode we are going to look at the available engines. We'll look at technology features, if there are any differences. We'll look at safety, we'll look at passenger space, we'll look at cargo space, and more importantly, we'll look at the exterior dimension and trims and possibly prices, so that we can decide which of them will be the best fit for you if you're a fan of these three-row seaters, okay? So guys, basically this is why we are here. Do not move an inch if you are torn between. Let's get down to the business. Many of you here know that the Highlander is one of the best known names in three-row SUV segment, and Toyota has been building this crossover since 2001, and in many ways it has come to be the benchmark for family-friendly vehicles, okay guys? Now, for 2024, the Highlander lineup got expanded with the first ever Grand Highlander. So just how grand is the Grand Highlander over the normal Highlander? Let's get going. So beginning with the standard engines, the Grand Highlander versus the Highlander. This is one of the few areas where the Grand Highlander and the Highlander are tied, so let me lay it flat. For 2023, the Highlander got swapped its V6 engine for a 2.4-liter turbo inline-4 engine that also serves the Grand Highlander standard engine. And this particular engine outputs 265 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Power is sent through an 8-speed automatic transmission to the front-wheel drive. However, you've got available all-wheel drive option if you want to opt for. Now, given the Grand Highlander's larger size, we expect that the fuel economies will be different on this standard engine, or slightly less than the 2023's MPGs, which is 21 to 22 for city and 28 to 29 for highway. Okay, now, so pay attention to this, the hybrid powertrains. That's where we find the differences that matter. Okay, so if you're really interested in these hybrid powertrains, just be careful and listen well. Now, unlike their shared gasoline engines, the Grand Highlander and the Highlander use different hybrid powertrains. The Highlander is centered around a 2.5-liter inline-4, which is aided by two electric motors to produce 243 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque, guys. Now, it uses a CVT automatic, front-wheel drive is standard, and all-wheel drive is optional. Now, fuel economy rates at 35 to 36 and 34 to 35 mpg. And the regular Highlander hybrid does 0 to 60 acceleration in 8.4 seconds, guys. Now, when you get to the Grand Highlander, which offers two hybrid powertrains, along with a 2.5-liter hybrid setup, the SUV is also getting a hybrid max powertrain like one found in a Toyota Crown, which uses a 2.4-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine with an electric motor plus a separate motor on the rear axle. Now, this one outputs a total of 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque in the Grand Highlander, and the all-wheel drive is standard on the Grand Highlander. Now, if you take a careful look at it, the careful consideration will show that there is a bump in power and a bump in torque. Now, the Grand Highlander's fuel hybrid economy might not be able to match the Highlander's hybrid as discussed from earlier. However, this is much quicker. Toyota estimates that 0 to 60 miles per hour acceleration is 6.3 seconds, down from the 8.4 seconds on the regular Highlander. So guys, this is really important if you are a hybrid fan and you're looking at power and economy figures. At this point, let me just take a breather and jump onto the technology in this one. And I bet you there isn't much in here that is different, just a little bit here, which I'm going to touch on. The Highlander's interior already is comfortable and well equipped, right? But the Grand Highlander benefits from even more tech, and this is where it shines. The Highlander comes with an 8.0-inch infotainment touchscreen and 7.0-gauge cluster display. Higher-end trims actually get the 12.3-inch touch and gauge display. Meanwhile, every Grand Highlander gets a 12.3-inch touchscreen as standard, though the larger digital gauge display is likewise included only on the higher-end models. So please take note. When it comes to Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, they are found on both, made wireless with a larger screen. The regular Highlander has 5 USB ports, while 7 come on the Grand Highlander. Only the Grand Highlander has 3-row USB ports. Along those lines, you are getting a wireless charging pad, which is optional in the Highlander, but standard on the Grand Highlander, and an 11-point speaker JBL premium audio system is available on both of them, guys. But this is where the Grand Highlander shines. The Grand Highlander can be turned into a giant gaming console, which the Highlander has nothing to answer with in this case. Right, so let me just jump onto the safety as well. And in this case, I'm just going to go straight to what the differences are. If you read the fine print, though, you'll see the Highlander has the Toyota Safety Sense 2.5 Plus, and the Grand Highlander has the TSS 3.0. This simply means that the newer SUV, the Grand Highlander, has more and improved safety systems, namely blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, both of which are optional on the regular Highlander. Furthermore, the Grand Highlander gets Toyota's new proactive driving assist, which provides automated speed control based on traffic and road conditions, guys. So this is the extras that you get with the TSS 3.0 over the TSS 2.5 in the regular Highlander. But I believe this is what matters to you the most. A lot of you consider passenger space and cargo space as principal when it comes to these 3-row SUVs. So without wasting much time, let me jump onto passenger space, and then I'll continue down into cargo space, and then we'll begin to wrap this whole conversation up. Both the Highlander and the Grand Highlander can be equipped in 7 or 8 passenger seating configurations, and second row captain's chairs are available. A key difference between the pair is how much passenger space you are going to enjoy, particularly in the third row. So let me give you the numbers. Put your pen and paper together and get the percentages. Now in the Highlander, the regular Highlander, there is 36.1 inches of headroom and 28 inches of legroom in the third row. The Grand Highlander, however, comes with 37.2 inches and 33.5 inches in those measures. That means that the Grand Highlander has only slightly less third row space than the full-size Toyota Sequoia. Okay, so that is basically it. But then let's jump in and look at the cargo as well. If you need to carry lots of things, then put the pen and paper here and get your figures. Now, behind the Highlander's third row, there is 16.0 cubic feet of cargo space, while the Grand Highlander has 20.6 cubic feet. You're looking at about 4.6 inches more space on the Grand Highlander if it matters to you. And when the second and third row seats are folded, the Highlander maxes out at 84.3 cubic feet of capacity. And then on the Grand Highlander, wait for it, it tops out at 97.5 cubic feet. So you see the difference? That is about 10 to 11 more cubic feet of space. Yes. Okay, so that's how it works on that. Let's look at it from the exterior. And in photos, the Grand Highlander looks bigger and boxier than the normal Highlander. But just how much larger is it really? It's a difference of few inches, we believe, which is actually quite a bit by car standards. So look on my right side. I'll scroll and give you the official dimensions of this. Put in the 2023 Highlander by the Grand Highlander in this case. So if you look at it, 194 for the Highlander and 201 for the Highlander in terms of length. In terms of width, the normal Highlander is 76 inches wide and 2.3 inches wider on the Grand Highlander. And the height, the normal Highlander comes in at 61.1 inches, and you get to enjoy about 2 inches taller in terms of height than on the Grand Highlander. So basically that is how that stands. But let me also try and wrap it up more importantly with the trims that you are getting. And this is where the Highlander shines over the Grand Highlander in terms of trim levels. This is how they stand. All the Grand Highlander tends to offer more than the Highlander. One area where it has comparatively less is trim levels. So for 2024, the Grand Highlander starts with the XLE trim and offers limited and platinum trims as upgrades. Yes, you got me right, only 3 trims. Meanwhile, the Highlander is available in L, LE, and XE trims. In addition to the XLE, you get to enjoy limited and platinum regular Highlanders, guys. It seems unlikely that the Grand Highlander will be able to match the Highlander L's roughly $38,000 starting price. And even compared grade to grade, expect the price of the Grand Highlander to be well grander, as its name implies, guys. So basically, this is what the Toyota Highlander going up against the Grand Highlander looks like. And to cap it up, we have seen that there are key differences in available hybrid engines. There are also key differences in technology features, safety systems. There are also third row differences, cargo capacity, exterior dimensions, trims. Prices are yet to be. So if you really want to stick around and get updated on prices, just subscribe and put on your notification bell so that in future, if we updated this one, you will be able to access it. So this is what we got for you from AutoStop. We want to say a big thank you to you. Have a great day until meet same time again. Bye bye.